What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's Wednesday. You guys already know what that means. That means Queen Sugar. This is season 3, of course, and episode 11. Your passages have been paid. This episode really wasn't that much. I was excited about it because we were going to talk about the mediation between Ralph Angel and Darla, and Charley had gotten the shares from the Landry son. So I thought this was going to be an action-packed episode. It just was not. Before we get going good in this quick review / discussion, you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Welcome back to all the old honeybees. Welcome to all the new honeybees. Don't forget to raise your thumbs high as well as comment down below. Let's talk about this episode. Easy peasy stuff first. Aunt Vi. Aunt Vi looks beautiful. She's got like this old burgundy-ish / cranberry type short unit on, and the makeup is done beautifully. Of course, she's dressed so cute and sassy. Well, she's being interviewed by a local reporter who wants to talk about Vi's prize pies. And just how she felt about coming from being a worker bee to working for herself and having her own business, what it means to her. Of course, she doesn't reveal the secret of her pies, but she does open a door for Rhonda, who is her baker's assistant. And she brings her up front in the process. We don't get to see Hollywood this episode at all. She brings Rhonda up front in the process, and she talks about how Rhonda is her rock and her right hand, and how they both have worked really, really hard. She doesn't, from what we can see, mention Hollywood at all. And it was a good look, the things she said about Rhonda, and Rhonda talking about how Aunt Vi gave her an opportunity when no one else would. And that is a good moment. It is a good story, but the fact that we don't get to hear her talk about Hollywood, I don't know. It kind of bothered me a little bit. And I was just like, Vi, I just feel like we're constantly reminding Vi to remember Hollywood. I don't know. I don't know where this is headed with Aunt Vi and Hollywood. They have been shaken to their core before. I don't know if Vi's attitude or lack of conscientiousness, even though she was very conscientious last episode, is going to be an issue where she and Hollywood are concerned. But I'm keeping my good eye on that. Let's talk about Micah, the detective that Charley uses to do her research on the Landrys and everything that's going on with the Landrys. Overheard while she was down at the police precinct. Overheard the police officer talking about Micah being a person of interest in the arson investigation that happened over at the plantation. Of course, she is shook. She goes get Micah from school and talks to Micah. Micah is hella disrespectful. I wanted to snatch him when he pulled away from Charley. I wanted her to take an open hand and bust him dead in his back. But I digress. He's talking with his friends, and of course, Charley is upset. She's just like, I can't believe this. I can't believe you have done this. I can't believe you have gone this far. Like, what if they lock you up? Like, he's just not hearing that. He goes over and talks to Nova, and Nova tells him what we have all said. And that is, you can't control the results. It wasn't your intention to burn it down. He kept saying it was an accident. And let me see, what did she tell him? You burned down a reminder of our history. People who will walk in those cabins and feel the presence of our ancestors won't have that anymore. I'm assuming there's some other cabins there, but she imparts this wisdom to him. He feels like because she's kind of no nonsense that she should understand better than anyone, activism and just, saying by any means necessary. And she lets him know, I saw weed. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. She tells him, but I saw weed. That was the weed that got too sweet locked up. And he's kind of shook. He's like, I wanna do this. I thought, my voice could be heard in this way. And she is just like, no, you got to learn how to organize and do things the proper way, and check your intentions. What really were your intentions there? Anyway, later on, he comes home. His mom is in a meeting. This is after he and the activism kids, the remainder of the kids, when he talked to Nova, he tell Nova he feels bad about being out and Anthony in jail. She say, well, you want to go turn yourself in? And he was like, well, no. And she was like, yeah, you can make more of a difference for Anthony out here than you can in there. Later on, when him and the activism kids are down at the Hyella and they talking to Anthony mama, she's heartbroken that her second son is in jail. And finally, after they console her and she talks about the fact that she can't sleep and the fact that her husband is beside himself. Oh no, Anthony won't eat and can't sleep because he feel like he disappointed his father. His father is upset. She's not sleeping. But, they console her and she says, now I want y'all to tell me what y'all had to do with this whole situation. And they were like, nothing. They stood by it. They stood by the lie. They stood by the alibi. And they said, well, we, raising some money to pay for the lawyer. And she said, them public defenders is some bull crap. This is mama. She said, now y'all was thick as thieves. And you tell me y'all wasn't nowhere around. Evidently, they found Aunt's fingerprints on a lighter inside the bag. I was like, the bag caught on fire, didn't it? But anyway, that's how they located him. That's how they found him. Micah wants to say something. Everybody else is like, mom's the word, although they are still supporting her. And he says that he talks to his aunt Nova and maybe he can get a community activist lawyer. Like I said, later on, he goes home. His mama is there. She having a meeting. He walks in. She's torn. She's got her own business she's trying to take care of, but she is so worried about her son. So when he come in and go on upstairs, I guess she figure out the time is not now. And we see where she calls Davis down. And so we see Micah go and Davis goes in Micah's room and he talks to him. And of course, he's disrespectful to Davis. He's upset. Davis lets him have his moment. And he once again apologizes. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of men, that's their middle name. It's like John, I'm sorry, Smith. You know what I mean? You're continually apologizing to them and telling them you want them to be better and you want to be a better man. It's just like one thing after another, and Micah has had it. And he feels like, I'm nothing like you. I work as hard as I can not to be like you, not to be this apologizer. That's why I'm working in the community, so I don't have to be like you. And, he's gotten that little soupçon of anger off of him. And then he takes this moment of reflection where he talks about, the thing that happened to him with the police officer. And the police officer is now been fired. Micah tells Davis that the police officer is appealing it. And he just talks about his feelings, the difference he wants to make, the man he wants to be. It's just this moment. I think Micah really wants to go down and say we were all there. I think that's something that he feels like, well, maybe he doesn't feel like it'll make him feel better, but I think the guilt of it is something that is bothering him. And he wants to say something. Later on, his mom comes into the room and she gets in the bed, with him. And he tries to play sleep and she's looking at him. And then he says, I messed up. And she hugs him and they both cry. And it's a moment. I don't know. I'm not as worried about Micah as I was last episode. But I don't know where Ava's going with this. I'm not really sure. But that's Micah and Aunt Vi. Nova gets a call from her publisher, and the edits on her first draft are back. It's a ton of edits, and she's got her good girlfriend there, and the good girlfriend is like, you talking about everybody in the family but yourself. And she's like, Nova's like, I got skeletons, I don't want folks to know. And her girlfriend say, you talking about Calvin? We talked a little bit about this in Housewives of Potomac. I think Nova, because she is a Black activist and a community leader in the Black community, I do think she felt a measure of shame for dating and loving a white man. But this is something that the young lady is telling her she needs to talk about. Later on, after she meets with Micah and reveals to him really that it was her marijuana that Too Sweet was carrying when he got locked up, she goes down to the library where Too Sweet has his job. He's a super, super handsome guy. The actor that plays Too Sweet is super handsome. He's a good looking boy. And she tells him, I got something to tell you. And she tells him about, was my marijuana that you had and that was rolled in that spliff when y'all got pulled over. And he takes a deep breath. She apologizes. It was a nice moment. It was a great moment. The apology was a great moment. The notion of apologizing was a great moment. And I enjoyed that. I don't think enough people apologize with sincerity. And he tells her that he doesn't blame her, that all that she did to work on his behalf is the reason why he is where he is right now and doing so good. And he just said, let me see what he say. You were there when I needed you most. Now, I didn't know that she was recording him. She may have some point after they did the filming, they showed us the conversation that she may have started recording him, because later we see Nova at her computer and we hear Too Sweet's voice on the recorder, and he starts talking about how it was in prison and how he was never going back, how he felt in prison that any day every day was he thought, is this the day they're going to kill me? And she starts typing. So I think she's going to put some of her own personal things in the book, and we're going to see how that goes. Nova has really lost something for me. She's lost a sparkle, a dazzle, the appeal. She's lost some steam for me. I don't know. I felt a little bit of it when she was talking to Micah. Her conversation was a lot more powerful. It was a lot more strong. It was a lot more definitive. When she talks about this book and she's dealing with this Remy and Charley situation, she seems so unsure. And it goes back to what Aunt Vi was saying about, you've lost your way somewhere. You need to find yourself and you need to come to yourself. Like, I get it. Now, in this episode, more than ever. All right, so Nova, that's Nova. Let's talk about our two main stories that we were waiting for, which is Charley and this whole plantation situation. I didn't say it at the time because I really didn't want it to be so. But of course, we find out the hard way that we can't trust the Landrys, any of them. Charley meets with Jacob's mom, and Jacob's mom sits across from the sofa from her, and with a straight face, not nary a flinch, she sells it. She tells her that as her father died, and she kept her mouth closed during the reading of the will when her father bequeathed everything to her brother, and how women, and still even in his death after he is gone, she is still trying to please him. And Charley can relate. She can relate because this is something she's going through in her own in her own life. And it just seems like from the white woman's perspective, we have so much in common. You and I are like sisters, like she didn't say that, but the way she told the story, the way she weaved the lie, it was to endear herself to Charley. And she says, but we're together, we're going to take my brother down. And Charley's like, okay, good. So when they get to where they're supposed to meet, and they go over the plans for the prison, the sheriff is there and one of the individual, and they talk about ain't nobody gonna get out of here. Once they get in here, they ain't never leaving. You know what I mean? Like, Charley says, well, let's vote. And he was like, no need to vote. We've already voted. And Charley's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? So apparently he supposedly sent a memo out that said, we're going to have this meeting. And because Charley wasn't at the meeting and the sister's acting like she wasn't at the meeting either, he was able to do the vote without them. Just vote on it without them. Like, I don't even... I thought you could even if you weren't present, people can vote by proxy. So this just seems like utter BS to me. But the sister gets up and is like, hey, if there's nothing else, I'm out. And walks off. And she looks at Charley like, gotcha, mission accomplished. And Charley is devastated. Later on, when she's meeting with the farmers. Now, prior to this meeting, she had already gotten the shares. She had already met with Jacob's mother. And she had been called down to the High Yellow by a couple of farmers that wanted to talk about how they had started breaking ground on the Landry's land for this prison. And they wanted to do something about it. And she was like, wow, I hadn't heard about this prison. Now, she had to keep this quiet because she's supposed to be working in secret, right? And she don't need this to get out no kind of way, what she's working on. So she can't just divulge to them. So she holds it close to her chest, but you can tell she feels awkward doing so. At the same time, she assures them that she's going to work on it because she thinks this vote is going to go somewhere. And later on, they are all, after she realizes the vote isn't going there, and she gets all the farmers together, and they're at her house, and she confirms with them what is happening, what's going on, and they make a plan right there what they're going to do. They're going to get farmers from not only there in Louisiana, but the surrounding states to come down and protest and just move really on this council meeting, because this is the only way they're going to really be able to stop this prison from being built. And a couple of people feel like there's nothing you can do because they always get their way. They always get their way. And I'm feeling the same way. I just felt like, we got so many stories out there that are being written about Black people losing. I'm like, you could write any story you want to write, and you just want to constantly write what we live every day, which is hit after hit, injustice after injustice, unfairness after unfairness. This is what you write, Ava. Like, I'm a little pissed. That the borderlines aren't being shown as warriors. I'm a little pissed with Ava that this story is being written where everybody is so fractured. Ralph Angel over here doing this, Nova over here doing this, Aunt Vi interviewing with the Pies. We haven't seen Hollywood. Micah's out here setting fires and whatnot, and Charley is trying to fight for the family in her own private way. If they would all come together, you know what I'm saying? If they would all come together and brainstorm and talk about it and work in congregation together, maybe this story would take a different turn. Maybe it wouldn't be such a defeatist narrative. It's pissing me off. Like, when are we gonna win? We can't win in fiction. We can't win in non-fiction. The story of the Black man is always written, where we are downtrodden. I mean, even our superheroes get the hell beat out of them before they rise up. Look at Luke Cage. when are we going to get a narrative where we see African Americans winning from beginning to end? Is it not possible? Is that too much like fiction? It just, y'all, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I really am. And so it's gonna come out next week that Charley has been working quietly with the Landrys, and she's gonna try to explain it, and I don't know where that's gonna go. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Y'all know I've been waiting for war. But anyway, she calls Davis down, of course, to talk to Micah, and later on when he comes down to hug her, you know, I wish she would have just hugged him, you know, just taken that moment of consolement and just tried to work it through. But she's not really talking to anybody about what's going on. She's not, you know, she rejects his hug because at the same time she wants to relax into it. She feels like he is not somebody that she can trust, she can depend on, and she can rely on. So why waste her time? And she pulls away. Let's talk about Ralph Angel and Darla real quick. Darla is waking up crying. She's in cold sweat. She's upset. Everything is just falling apart. Like she said, they went from being this happy, loving couple to fighting. Her mom has got a lot to say. Not just to Darla about, you know, I'm going to stand by you and you my daughter and so on and so forth. But she got a lot to say in the mediation. Prior to the mediation, we don't get to see Ralph Angel at all. We get to see this dichotomy between Darla and her mom just constantly talking about her feelings and how much she loves Blue and how much she misses Blue, and she didn't get to see him today, and that's her baby, and Darla's her baby, and it's just on and on and on until after mediation. But first, let's do mediation. So we see in mediation, they're sitting on separate sides of the table. Nobody is there but Ralph Angel and his lawyer, and Darla and her mama and her lawyer and the mediator. And, you know, they've got the social worker report back. Both of them got stellar reviews. The conversation is had about who's taking care of Blue when Ralph Angel is at work, and he tells him about Vi, and the lawyer's like, he's got a strong support system. And the whole time, Darla's mom just keeps chiming in. Darlene just keeps chiming in. And so finally, after they find out that Ralph Angel is actually fighting for and filing for full custody. So he trumped her 70-30 for full. And Darlene is like, well, we want full custody too, because he doesn't deserve it. The women and men he has in and out of the house. And so finally, Darla, after a whole day of her mama just going on and on and on and dominating the conversation in and out, she tells her, stop it. I'm not going to let you talk about my son's father this way. And there's a moment where Ralph Angel feels just a little bit bad, right? And he tells her, he's not mine. Because prior to this, Darlene kept saying, he needs to take a blood test. He needs to take a blood test. He needs to take a DNA test, a paternity test. So when he finally fesses up that he's not his, Ralph Angel says, but it don't matter. I signed the birth certificate. I did my research. You can't just take him. You can't just take my baby. I'm proud of Ralph Angel. I'm proud of Ralph Angel because even though he was angry, he did not appear to be physically angry. And Darla is quiet. Darla is just thinking and contemplating. She is just, she's awestruck at where they are, not only as a couple, but as a mom, as a family, where they are. And I know it's people out there that feel like Darla deserves this. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You just think about how many mistakes you done made in your life. If somebody held you accountable for those mistakes every single solitary day for the rest of your life, you would be so defeated and so miserable. It's called forgiveness for a reason. Now, you ain't got to forget. I ain't saying be nobody's fool. But when you forgive somebody, you don't just keep regurgitating what they did over and over again. Okay? These are the laws of forgiveness. So I don't listen to that. I don't listen to what people say about Darla because and I was not a Darla fan. First of all, I thought she put that note in there. I thought about the daddy leaving Ralph Angel that land. I thought she was working with the Landrys. I have had a distrust for Darla for a while, but I've had to work through that. Work through my emotions about that, and y'all know I was pissed off when she stole the original Kenya and threw her away. Y'all already know it took me a good 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes to get over that Kenya thing. And it still kind of pissed me off when I think about it. But that's Blue's mom. If I love Blue, I got to love Blue's mom. I got to forgive Blue's mom too. So do y'all, and so do Ralph Angel. Later on, she's sitting in Blue's room talking with her mama. And her mama's going on and on about how much she missed Blue and you're my little girl, and I couldn't just sit there. And, Darla understands. She does understand, but she sends her mom on her way. And she lets her mom know, listen, Ralph Angel and I got to work this thing out together. We've got to figure this thing out together. And I'm like, duh, it's about time. And that really is the episode, you guys. It wasn't a whole lot. Like I said, let me see what my time frame is, 27. Like I said, you guys, I just don't understand. I don't understand why this family isn't coming together. I don't understand why we keep seeing conversations where they are not together collectively discussing a game plan on how they can save their 800 acres. Everybody's off doing their own thing. We don't have any family members there supporting Ralph Angel. We don't have Nova using some of her activism and things like that to help the family, to help the cause. She's just as fucking distant from her family as she was when her daddy was living. She's still doing her own thing, coming in and out here and there. But you know what I'm saying? They not working together as a collective. Aunt Vi surely knows some people, some places. And everybody got to live their own life. But you guys, we're in the middle of war. Y'all could lose everything. I'm upset with how they writing this. But I'm not going to let this video be 30 minutes. It's 28 minutes. You guys tell me what you think. Put it down below. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. And I don't know how to deal with these emotions that I feel about how Ava's doing this. I need some redemption. Anyway, y'all tell me what you think. Put it down below. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah.